Hey buddy, Tim Selby here from Heart of Steamboat. I'm at the top of the gondola. I'm not dressed appropriately. It is cold and a little bit rainy, but it's great to be in this beautiful spot, and I really appreciate you joining me. Does it sometimes seem like our culture around us is like designed to tear us down, to beat us down? There's so many critical voices, critical comments. It's like we've often come to see the world through a negative lens, and people see what's wrong with everybody and everything, as if we didn't have our own internal critical voices already that maybe tell us that we're not enough, or we need to be better, or we have to do better somehow in some way. A lot of us have those voices and we struggle with that. Maybe you're a teacher. If you're a teacher, you're working really hard, and you know what? You can never do it good enough, can you? Like, you're working all the time, but there's always a parent that's going to tell you how you're doing it wrong. And have you seen the test scores? Man, our school's got to step it up. We're way behind. You know what I'm talking about? And you're just working yourself like crazy, trying to do the best job that you can. Or maybe you're in healthcare, when you're having to do more with less and less all the time, and people are mad at you because they want good care, but you're doing everything you can, and it's sort of beyond your control, but you want to help people, and it's so frustrating. Or maybe you're running a business and you're working 24/7, and it seems like you can never get out from underwater, and people make negative comments about what's going on with your business, but they don't know you're working all the time and you're doing everything that you can. I'm a pastor and I work in a church, right? And so I get at least one email every day, and sometimes multiple emails with pictures of smiling people in churches from marketing agencies that tell me all about churches where everybody's happy and the bank account is overflowing and you can't fit all the people in the building. And if I just do these four things, I'll be successful just like those people are. But the truth is, most of the pastors I know are working really hard, often in difficult situations, trying to do the best that they can, and feeling like they're not up to the task of everything that might be asked of them, and going to bed at night wishing they could do all of it better somehow, some way. Not that I've ever felt that way, except every day. Or maybe you're retired and you wonder, did you do enough? Did you do enough in your career? Did you do enough in your work? Did you do enough for your family? Did it matter? Is it worthwhile? And what's your purpose and meaning now? Did you worried maybe did life slide by you somehow while you weren't looking? Whatever your challenge is right now, whatever your circumstance in life, I know this. I know you could use some encouragement. You could use some encouraging words or a pat on your shoulder. All of us could use some people to help us to believe in ourselves, and use people that are around us that believe in us. In the New Testament, which is the story of the life of Jesus and then the early Christian communities that followed that, we are told over 30 times in that New Testament to do something. And we're not told 30 times to do very many things, but we're told 30 times to do this one thing. And you know what it is? We're told over 30 times in the New Testament to encourage one another, to lift one another up. And this comes out of the early Christian communities where they were experiencing so much hardship and difficulty. People were being persecuted, killed, tortured. And in the midst of their hardship, that early church would not have survived if the people weren't good at encouraging one another and lifting each other up. It just wouldn't have made it. Now, we're not in times of persecution or no one's being killed or those kind of things, but we live in difficult things as well. We have struggles and difficulties both in culture and our own life. We need to build each other up. One of the ways that this happens, the primarily way that people get encouraged is by our words and how we speak. And the New Testament surely talks about how important our words are, how our words can be used to harm and to beat people down. But they can also be used to heal, to build people up, to bring beautiful things about. The normative way that we speak to each other when we gather in community, I think the way we encounter one another and speak to one another, that becomes our vibe. And our vibe is so important. And I hope as a church that our vibe is one of encouragement, that we're a place where people are encouraged and lifted up. And that becomes a part of the culture that we live in, part of the air. It's in the air, it's in the water. It's just hopefully we just have an encouraging place. I want to read you a couple lines of scripture that talk about this. First one here is from the letter to the Romans. It says, may God, who gives endurance and encouragement, give you the same attitude of mind toward each other that Christ Jesus had. We need to encourage people to love one another and to treat people as Jesus has treated us. What a beautiful line. And then in the letter to Hebrews, we hear this. And let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds, not giving up on meeting together as some of the people were doing at that time, but encouraging one another. Encouraging one another all the more. We need to encourage people to keep serving the Lord and to keep in regular fellowship together. That's such an important encouragement that we have. And I could go on and do this 30 more times. Very clear message of encouragement that we have. I want to share a little story. I read a story of a pastor that he said this. He said his daughter came to him one day. His daughter comes to him and she says, Dad, I want you to talk to me the way that you talk to Jake. And Jake is their dog. And he had to take a minute. What's she talking about? Why does she want me to talk to her the way that I talk to the dog? And then he thought about it. And when he talks to the dog, you know what he does? He gets a kind tone in his voice. He gets very encouraging. He's very positive. He says, oh, what a good boy you are. And he's really encouraging in his words. And then he said he thought about how he talked to his daughter. And he said, he was barking at her. Don't do that. Stop that. Quit doing this. And he says, there's the parenting skills of your pastor on display. My daughter's begging to be treated like our dog. A powerful little story. And it made me think about, wow, I was like, I don't think I'd talk to anybody in the world as positively as I talk to my dog, right? And I'm not sure people want us to talk to it in that same way, because that'd be a little strange. But I think it can remind us to be more kind in our tone, to be encouraging with our words, to think about how we build up with our words, not break down. Encouraging words are so important. There was once a little boy by the name of Charles. And Charles had to quit school when he was 12 years old because his father was in prison. And he had a job pasting labels on bottles in a rat-infested workplace, but his passion was writing. So he kept writing, he kept submitting writings for publication. He got rejected over and over again. And then he submitted a writing and he got rejected. But in the rejection letter, even when he was being rejected, the responder said, you are a great writer and the world needs you. One line of encouragement in the midst of a rejection letter that was so powerful, it sent this guy running through the streets of London, rejoicing that his work was meaningful. And that little boy that grew up to be Charles Dickens wrote some of the great masterpieces of literature, all because he had a word of encouragement along the way. There was another young girl named Wilma. Wilma was born premature. At 4 years old, she got polio that left her left leg paralyzed, and the doctors told her that she would never walk again. But her family kept encouraging her and supporting her, and she kept trying. And by the time she was in high school, she was able to play high school sports. And one of the coaches she had there encouraged her to go out for the track team because he thought she could run well. So she did. And then she ended up being able to run in college. And that college coach encouraged her to keep running. And that little girl grew up to be Wilma Rudolph, who was the first American woman to win 3 gold medals at a single Olympic Games in 1960. There was another little boy named Al, and Al had difficulty in school. He was a daydreamer, a slow learner. They thought he had a learning disability because he learned so slow, and he had a rebellious attitude toward authority, but his family encouraged him to keep trying hard in school, to keep trying to overcome. And he made it through, and then he applied to higher education, but he got rejected, and they encouraged him to apply again, and finally he made it. And after he graduated from that school, he couldn't find a job. He had a difficult time. He got sort of a dead-end job. But as he had that job, his wife kept encouraging him to follow his passion and to do what he did. And Albert Einstein went on to discover some of the most important scientific discoveries of the 20th century. I could go on with examples of people doing amazing and incredible things because of the way they were encouraged along the way. But it's not really the point to be famous or amazing. I think that's the point of it all. I'm getting rained on here. The point is, I'm not going to do something amazing. You're probably not going to change the world. But maybe you and I, maybe we could just use somebody to encourage us to be who we are. Maybe I need somebody to encourage me just to be me. And maybe you need you to encourage someone to just be you. Because being you is enough. In fact, being you is more than enough. Being you is beautiful. So I hope whenever you encounter Heart of Steamboat congregation, whether it's in person or online, I hope you feel encouraged. I hope we make encouragement the vibe of our community together. I hope it flows through everything we do and becomes just a part of who we are. And I would invite you to join me in being intentional about using our words to build up, to heal, to bless, to inspire, to bring a vibe of encouragement for all people, old and young, full-timers, part-timers, tourists and onliners, people of all walks of life. May we encourage one another. We are all in it together, and we could all use some encouragement. So you keep being you. You're amazing just the way you are. You're a blessing to the world. Believe in yourself, and let's believe in each other, because we all need it. Thanks for joining me. Blessings, peace. I'm going to get out of the rain and warm up now. Thanks for joining me.